Welcome back to Timeout with J and G. I'm Jay over here, and that's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
It's been a while. It's been over a week since we recorded our last episode. We there were some different reasons. One, it was that we did that Monday once the conference final or the second round was over, and we didn't want to do one Wednesday because there was only gonna be like one game in between. So then we were like, oh, we'll just wait till Saturday. But then we both had some things going on, and it was like, well, actually, at this point, the series might be over. You know what I mean? Because the way they were going. So we're here back now on Wednesday. And one series is over. One series is damn near over. But before we get into that series, is there anything you want to talk about before we get in here?
Not really. I mean, I'm just excited for Boston to be in the finals.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll go ahead and start with that one because that was the I'd say the less exciting of the two series so far. Boston steamrolls Indiana, sweeps them in 4 games like I predicted. I think I said it might go 5 max, but I think I had it as a sweep. Yeah, I mean, no Tyrese Halliburton for the last 2 games, but honest to God, I don't think it would have mattered. I mean, maybe they win one game with Tyrese playing those last two, but I don't think the series changes at all.
I had the ball Celtics in 6.
Hmm.
As we saw, if there were Rudy just blocked
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Gafford.
we're watching this. Rudy just damn.
But no, I had it going 6, and the reason I had it going 6 was because of we seen how close the games were.
Yeah,
And if one thing would have went differently, this series could have been totally different. You know what I mean?
that's fair.
That's the one part I was scared of. But then we got up 3-0. We got to game 4. We beat them. I was just happy. This is probably one of the most like competitive sweeps I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I mean, yeah, I mean, game one, it took Jaylen Brown hitting a buzzer beater to send it to overtime, but then the overtime game. And then in games like 3 and 4, they came back down from double digits, I think, right?
Yeah, they were down. I think they were down
I
in
think, I
two,
think,
3, and 4.
yeah, I know. I think game four they overcome like a 18-point deficit to win.
Yeah, they went on like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they went on a run at the end to where the Pacers didn't score in the last 3 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It is. It's crazy that a team like the Pacers can go on a scoring drought at that like prominent point in the game.
That too, because like the Pacers were statistically one of the best offenses of all time in the regular season. Like no joke, they were one of the best offenses. And the fact that yeah, you guys shut them down for the last damn near 4 minutes of that game to close out the victory is just nuts. I mean, again, they didn't have their star player for sure. You can't just overlook that. But the fact of the matter is that you guys still swept them.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of people out there they're saying that this is probably the easiest path to the finals that we've seen in a while. It's they're taking care of business like they should.
Hmm.
And if they weren't, then everyone would just be saying, "Oh, the Celtics aren't that good." The Cavs took them to 7, or X, Y, and Z. But it's just like everyone says, when it's their team in this position, you can only play who's in front of you.
100%.
That's all you
Yep.
can do. It's not the Celtics' fault that I believe it was Kelly Oubre Jr. decided to come down on Jimmy Butler's leg and then cost Jimmy from playing in the playoffs. I believe it was
Yep.
Kelly Oubre Jr. Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. I think that was a non-contact thing. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, you can only play who's in front of you. Uh,
Yeah, I think there's two ways to look at it. It's like the Celtics are in a lose-lose situation. They really are. Because if they win the finals, it's gonna be like, oh, they had an easy path. There's an asterisk, whatever. Like they're just gonna, oh, they kept playing injured teams, blah blah blah. Like. But then if they lose, it's like, wow, how do you guys lose to that team? Like, how do you guys lose to the Cavs? How do you guys lose to the Pacers? Or like, how do you guys lose to the Mavericks in the final? You know what I mean? Like, they're in a lose-lose. No matter what they do, somebody's gonna have something negative to say about them.
oh, 100%. I mean, you like I said, look if you look at it, it's just they beat who they were supposed to, like you said. And people are just saying, "Oh, well, it was an easy path." I mean, and then if they lose, then you say the team's not. It's just a bunch of hoopla. I mean, like he said, people are saying, "Oh, put an asterisk if they win it." This is the Mickey Mouse title. Similar to what people were saying about the Lakers
The
title
Lakers, yeah.
back during the bubble. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's
The Mickey
just
Mouse, yeah.
at this point, I was getting upset about it. I really was. But now I'm at the point where it's just like, you know what? If people are going to be upset, let them be upset.
It's Twitter. It's Twitter. People on Twitter aren't happy about anything. So it's
And
like,
TikTok.
yeah, exactly. It's like I don't take social media things seriously because it's like, yeah, people are just gonna find a way to be upset. And the Celtics are just one of those teams that people don't like. They're just one of those teams. So they're gonna always trying to find ways to discredit anything that they're doing. And it's just like I said, I'm a fan of Lakers. We have the same problem. People just don't like us. So it's like we're both fans of teams that are like really big franchises and are famous to get hated on. So it's just something you kind of have to deal with.
Yeah, for me, it's more prevalent now than ever because of the Celtics team and the fact that they're in the finals now. And it's just
Yeah.
getting more publicity, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And everyone's just talking about it. Or everyone's just talking about Jason Tatum isn't really that good, this and that. And it's just like, you know what? If you're going to be mad that a team that is dominant like the Celtics were this year basically breezed through the first 3 rounds and you're just going to call it easy and a Mickey Mouse, call it that if you want. But at the end of the day, if the Celtics do win it, that's banner 18. They get a championship no matter what.
Yeah.
If they win it all.
It's kind of funny because, well, these two have struggled with this their entire career. Jaylen Brown gets Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Jason Tatum. And the conversation, instead of being Jaylen Brown winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the conversation is, why didn't Tatum? Or, like, is Jaylen Brown better than Tatum? Like, the conversation is not what it should be about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even think there really should be a conversation about it. Like, obviously, Jason Tatum is the better player. He's a better player than Jaylen Brown. But Jaylen Brown is the clear-cut second-best player on that team. So, like, him getting Eastern Conference Finals MVP is not something that's, like, it's not something that should be, like, a complete shock. You know what I mean? Like, he was very, very good this Eastern Conference Finals.
He was, and, I mean, let's be honest here, if he doesn't hit that corner 3 in Game 1, this series could be looking differently. And I'm just saying that
you guys lose
objectively.
Game 1 at home. I mean, that series could be, you never know at that point.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, in the 4 games, in the Eastern Conference Finals, Jaylen Brown has put up 26 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, Game 1, 40 points, 1 steal, 2 assists, 5 rebounds in Game 2.
Yeah.
And then Game 3, he put up 24, 3, and 2, and then in the closeout game, Game 4, he had 29, 3 steals, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and he shot 50% from the floor and 50% from the field. He shot 50% from the floor this entire series.
He had a good series, and it's like, obviously, like, again, because Tatum is the best player, the conversation is going to be, oh, is Brown better than Tatum now because Brown got the MVP thing? But it's like, there's no shame in your second star just having a better, like, Jason Tatum had a good series. This is the most Jason Tatum we've seen him look this entire playoffs was this series. So it's like, all it took, that Jaylen Brown 40 piece between the shot, the 3-point shot that sent him to overtime in Game 1, and then the 40 piece, it was basically guaranteed to go to Jaylen Brown. He had those big moments.
Yeah, and I mean, even then on Tatum's side, like, I think Doris Burke or someone said the voting was like 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was very close. And Tatum, I believe, came away with like he averaged a double-double.
Yep.
Or something like that. Like he had 36 and 12, 23 and 6, 36, 10 and 8, and then 26, 13 and 8. I mean, it was pretty much just a flip of a coin who was going to win it. They both played good, and it just so happens that Brown hit the game-tying shot to send it to overtime, and then he had a 40-piece game.
Yeah, like I said, it's more like their stats are so similar. It's just that Jaylen Brown had those two big, like, that big moment in Game 1 and then that big performance in Game 2. It's like I think that's literally what it is. Like it was that got it to him.
Yeah, and I mean, like, just looking at the statistics-wise, I believe Jaylen Brown even shot the 3-ball better than Tatum this series. You know what I mean? And I know people look at efficiency for the shooting wise, but like you said, like I said, it was a coin flip to see who was gonna win it.
Yeah, I don't think
That's what it was.
these conversations should not be being had about this, but that's just how Twitter is. People are just unhappy, and I'm gonna say something, and it's not related to sports at all. It's actually related to music, but you'll understand its correlation here. So I know you're not really familiar with them, but I really like the band Falling in Reverse. Right? They're like a metal band. They do pop. He raps a little bit. The lead singer's name is Ronnie Radke, and Ronnie is somebody that's very, very, very controversial online because of like he's done some bad shit. He's been to prison. Like he's objectively done some bad shit. But like he's kind of like in that part where he's like trying to change for the better. But he still goes on Twitter and he still talks shit. He still gets in arguments with people. And I was listening to an interview he did like 3 weeks ago, where he's basically saying like Twitter is like a cesspool, and now Elon Musk pays you, like if you pay for your subscription and then you get your like tweets, your likes, your retweets, you get paid for Twitter interactions. And it's like he's like it's a combination because now people are going online and purposely saying negative stuff because it's going to get reactions and it's going to get them paid. And two, a lot of the times the way you interpret something is based on how you're feeling at that point in time, right? Like,
Right.
do you know who Key and Peele are? The two dudes, the comedian dudes? You've definitely, if you don't know them by name, which is kind of crazy, but if you saw a picture of them, you would definitely be like, oh yeah, I know who Key and Peele are.
Okay.
Their most famous skit's the one about the substitute teacher, where the guy keeps getting all the name wrongs as a substitute teacher.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
hey,
Now
hey,
I got
Rod,
you.
Jake Quellen. Like,
Yeah.
that's Key and Peele. That's one of their skits. They had a skit where they were texting each other about wanting to hang out, and the one of them was he was having kind of a rough day, so he was like texting like, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" The other guy's chill. He goes, "Yeah, sure, if you want to, like just all chill." And he goes, and the other guy, because he's having a bad day, goes, "Yeah, sure, because you want to, but does he not want to see me?" You know what I mean? It's like they keep going back and forth, where the one guy's just being super chill, like, "Yeah, if you want to come over, come on over." And then the other guy's like, "Well, what do you mean if I want to? Do you not want me?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they're having different days, they took the same words at completely different face values. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how Twitter, it's like, that's literally what Twitter is that because you hate the Celtics, because you hate this team, or because you're having a bad day, you're just going to be negative. You're going to take everything in a negative light, and you're going to push out more negativity. And especially now that you get paid for it, negativity is always going to get more traction than positivity. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, it's just like you're more likely to see a viral tweet about hating on a player than you are see a viral tweet about enjoying watching a player. That's just how it is. So it's like I feel like a lot of it's fake negativity, but it's still pushing more negativity in this world.
Oh, 100%. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I didn't know about the whole interaction thing with Twitter. You get paid just for getting clicks, basically.
Yeah, you
which
need
is
like a
kinda
certain you need
wild.
like a certain amount of followers. You need a certain amount of
Yeah.
like view. Like you have to have requirements, but like yeah, you if you have that big of an account, you get paid for likes, retweets, and all that kind of stuff.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, the Elon
But
Musk Twitter/X has not been a great experiment.
yeah, no, it really hasn't. But Antonio Brown is on a
Yeah.
interesting Twitter run. But
Why do you think he says half the shit he says? He gets paid from it.
yeah,
He just fucking filed for bankruptcy. Pardon my language. I try not to cuss on here, but like he just filed for bankruptcy. This dude trying to get any money he can.
all right, but back to the playoffs.
I guess, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Boston took care of business. They're sitting in the finals, waiting on the Mavs
Probably
and
the Mavs.
Mavs. Probably the Mavs or Timberwolves. Probably Mavs, but
And that doesn't start till June 6th. No matter what happens, no matter if you know what I mean, even if the Mavs would have won last night, they still have to wait till June 6th. So the Celtics are getting a lot of rest, and hopefully that means Kristaps is going to be ready to go.
I am hoping that is one thing. We struggled with the Pacers a little bit, but we pulled it out. I feel like from the experience that we had, and everyone was saying that the Celtics weren't battle tested. They were, because you got to figure Drew Holiday, multiple deep runs in the playoffs, former NBA champion. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, multiple time Eastern Conference final appearances, and they made the finals. You know, same for Derek White. Al Horford, I think, has the third most playoff games played of all time without winning a ring, only behind Malone and Stockton.
That's nuts, actually.
Yeah, and then obviously Kristaps doesn't have the experience that the other guys have in the playoffs, but This team is battle tested. This team is ready and hungry to win a ring.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of Kristaps coming back because I'm gonna be honest. Either way, if we play the Mavs or if we play the Timberwolves, if they somehow do the historic thing and come back down 3-0, we're gonna need him.
Yeah.
We're gonna need him bad.
Yep.
And I hope that him having this extra rest is gonna help him more than anything. Because I mean, like I told you, I mean, even if Kristaps could have came back game 3, I would have said just let him rest.
Yeah. You guys kind of had it handled.
Yeah, don't bring him back and possibly force a more severe injury when we could just let him go, let him rest, and then integrate him at some point during the nine. I think it's like 9 days or something like that.
Yeah, it's quite a while. It is quite a while.
Yeah. So I mean, like, just let him rest, let him get better before it's time. Before it's time for June 6th when the finals start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess we won't really do a finals preview yet because we still don't know about the West. But I guess let me just ask. I think I asked this last episode, like, which team you'd rather play. But this time I'll ask, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, against either team, like, don't just, like, count both teams as one, right? Count both the Timberwolves and the Mavericks as one team right now. Just give me one answer. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel the Celtics winning the championship?
6.
Okay.
6. Okay. Yeah, because both of the Mavs and the Timberwolves are both really good teams, but each of them have their own faults.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? They're both strong at one thing, and they're also both weak at one thing. And I feel like depending on how the games would go, could determine whether if the weaknesses are exploited enough or if their strengths are too much for the Celtics to handle. You know what I mean?
I think, man, I think the Celtics match up really well against both these teams. I really do. I think I think I said it last episode. I think the Mavericks would be a better matchup for you. I think the Mavericks would be a better final series, honestly, than the Timberwolves would be. Like, I really do like the Timberwolves. I like Anthony Edwards. I like Cat, but like, I don't know. This Mavericks team just feels, and because they are up 3-1. Like, you know what I mean? It's easy to say this, but they feel just more of a team. They feel like they're really they're all locked in right now, and they're damn near playing out of their minds on both sides of the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like this Mavericks team is so locked in right now that I still think the Celtics are the better team. But I think the Mavericks-Celtics series would be a lot more competitive than a Timberwolves-Celtics series.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you on that. I mean, one aspect of the Wolves' game style or gameplay, whatever you want to say it, that lacks is their offense, especially in crunch time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That is one of the big things that I feel like has gotten them in this hole, and somehow they pulled it out in Game 4. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the main reasons, in my opinion, why they're down 3-1 right now is because of their crunch time offense.
Yeah.
And just their offense in general, because it gets stale and it gets stagnant, and then you have Anthony Edwards, who is just pulling up for turnaround jumpers with like 16 still left on the shot clock. I know we talked about that before.
And let's talk about Cat too. Dude's consistently pulling threes, and he can't hit them. He cannot hit him this series.
Last game, I think it was last night, he did go 3 for 4. He had 3 in the third.
He did. He did. But I think, like, going back on Game 3, in the third quarter of Game 3, I think Cat had like 8 or 10 points, but I think he had like 9 points, and he had like 3 buckets inside and then three free throws. And then in the fourth quarter of Game 3, didn't score at all because he went 0 for 4 and took 3 threes. It's like he sometimes just he settles a lot for the 3 because he can hit them. He just hasn't really been hitting them this series.
Yeah, 100%. And he's either got to find his shot or just say, F it and go bang down in the paint and try and get some not easy buckets, but try and get some buckets closer to the paint.
Which is tough to do when Rudy Gobert's down there.
It is, but that's also why you have Naz Reid.
Yeah.
You could sub in Naz Reid for Rudy, but I know they've been doing a lot of Naz Reid for Cat.
They've also been having some minutes with Cat and Naz Reid together too, but they're not scoring as much as they usually do. Like, it's just their offense is just not. You know what I mean? Like what it was in the last series.
Yeah, and it could just be that the Timberwolves peaked during that Nugget series, and like that was as good as they were gonna get, and then now we're seeing kind of a little bit of a fall off, kind of like a Game 7 high kind of feel. You know what I mean? Like you just got
Yeah.
the Game 7, you beat the Nuggets after being down. What was it, like almost 20 in Game 7 or
Yeah.
something like that? You beat them. Now you're riding this high, and then you come into this Dallas series, and then now you just kind of plateau, and now you're not going up anymore. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And now you're in this whole 3-1, three. They were 3-0. Now it's 3-1 to where now you got to fight your way out of it. It's kind of just like with the Celtics last year with the Heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They came in kind of groggy, riding that high off the last series, and then you just got punched in the face,
Hmm.
and it took till Game 4 to your team to really rejuvenate and get something going.
Yeah, and like even if the Timberwolves kind of like what happened with the Celtics, like oh excuse me, like if Minnesota finds a way to push this to Game 7, they're going to be exhausted for Game 7.
100%.
And I feel like at this point, maybe maybe this series ends up going 6 or 7, but I'm like 95% confident Dallas is walking out of this series. Which again, it's easy to say when they're up 3-1, but I feel like no matter how many games it goes, I feel like Dallas has got this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own. I Dallas is probably going to win, but I do want to call my shot here and say Timberwolves come back and win in 7 and become the first team to come back down 3-0
That's
and win the series.
that's a crazy call.
It is, but if it hits, it's going to be legendary.
I'm
I,
trying
I
to.
want the if
Go ahead.
it does happen, I want this to go viral. Because I'm
That'd
calling
be
it
kinda
right
funny.
now
Yeah.
on 5/29 at 6:22 p.m. I'm calling it right now that the Timberwolves are going to make it to the NBA Finals this year.
I guess that'll be a call for sure. One thing I'm looking for is Derek Lively. He had that pretty serious looking injury in Game 3, missed Game 4, and it says he's questionable for Game 5. They called it a neck sprain or neck strain, or I guess yeah, actually neck sprain. I I think it was more concussion like, but they're not putting him through concussion protocol. I just hope they're not trying to force Derek Lively back early through a concussion so they can win this series. Because Daniel Gafford's cool, but when the rotation goes to Daniel Gafford and Dwight Powell instead of Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, there's a massive drop off in that.
There is 100%.
I think that's a good part of the reason why they ended up losing Game 4. Dwight Powell's just not good. He's just not good. And Daniel Gafford is cool, but he doesn't have the responsibility of being your full-time starting center. Like Derek Lively takes a lot of that toll. Derek Lively's been one of the best rookies this year, and he really didn't get talked about that much because of obviously Wemby, Brandon Miller, and like there was a couple other guys that were so great this year. Derek Lively's one game away from being in the finals, and he's been one of the best players on the team.
He has been.
Like,
He has been.
It's nuts what he's doing, and like I think him coming back is gonna be vital. Again, I think they can win this series if he misses Game 5. Like I think they're gonna win Game 5, and I think they can. Speaking of Derek Lively, just put a reverse dunk in there.
Hell yeah.
But like I think they can win this series without Derek Lively. But like for a Celtics series, they need him to be ready and healthy.
Oh, 100%. And I don't know how it's not something to do with a concussion.
Yeah, like I mean, I think he hit his head against Cat's knee or something like that, and dude was like, they had to like carry him off the court, like he was blinking super fast as they were, like it was weird looking, and I don't know.
Yeah, he went down to the floor and the ball came off, and Cat and I think Gafford jumped up to try and get it, and as Lively's head was going backwards and Cat was jumping, it was just that very unfortunate timing to where
for sure.
he caught him right in the back of the head.
Yeah, yep.
I don't know how that's not a concussion or how you don't put him through concussion protocol.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping they're not just forcing them through it because they're in a one game away from the finals. I really, really hope they're not, because that could seriously mess him up if he gets hit again in the head. But again, hopefully it just was a neck sprain.
Hopefully, because if you try and throw him out there while he has a concussion,
Yeah.
and just from the symptoms, or if he does get hit in the head again, like you said, it could severely it could take that concussion and turn it from like maybe like a mild concussion
Hmm.
to an extreme concussion where he's out for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this concussions are not something to be tossing around talking about lightly.
I mean, we saw that with in the NFL with Tua. Was that 2 years ago, where he had that one? He got hit. He went down, and they put him through concussion protocol or whatever, or like they didn't. I remember it was some weird thing, and then he ended up playing like the next week or 2 weeks later, and everybody's like, why is he playing? And then that's the same game he got slammed down, and that's when he was laying there with his fingers all messed up. That's like the one everybody remembers. It's like because he probably already had a concussion, and he put him back out there, and he got hit in the head again, and it really screwed him up. Like it's just the brain's not something to play around with. It's really
No,
not.
no, it's not. Especially in I know the physicalities are different between the two sports, but both sports are physical
Mm.
in their own right.
Oh, for sure.
And you can easily, like we've seen in the past, get caught with an elbow. You could be going up and someone, accidentally slaps you in the face or,
Hmm.
something like that. And instead of you having, maybe just something, you come off, they check you out, then you go back in to the point where it's like now you're laying on the ground. They got
Yep.
to take you to the back. And now we're looking at something more serious than what we started with.
Yeah,
And like you
100%.
said, I hope the Mavs aren't playing that game to where they're trying to force him back just to try and get a title this year. I hope they don't because that could really ruin his career.
Hmm. Especially
Depending on
like,
what
as a
goes
rookie.
on.
That's like a
Yes.
20-year-old rookie. Yeah, you do not want to. You don't do that at any age, but especially a 20-year-old rookie. That's was he all rookie first team? I think, or no? Was he second team? I think he got.
he probably second
I think he
team.
did get a little shafted down to second team, but it is what it is. They're seeing his value in the playoffs, so he's going to be a respected center for a long, long time.
100%. I just gotta say, the battle between like Gafford and Lively against Cat and Rudy,
Hmm.
and you can even throw PJ Washington in there a little bit. It has been something to see.
Yeah.
Watching it's been something to see, especially for Lively and Gafford on the offensive end. Like you see Kyrie go down there, next thing you know he gets collapsed on. Then you just see this ball just arc up, and next thing you know Gafford's throwing it down off of a lob or Lively, and it's just like, what do you do? You know what I mean? It's been crazy to watch.
These guys, when Kyrie first ended up in Dallas, I know there was a lot of questions about their fit. Like they're a really bad defensive backcourt. Can Kyrie Irving play more off ball, or like will they find a way to share the ball with each other and all that kind of stuff? And the first little bit, it was rough. They did not look good together, but throughout the season and especially into this playoffs, man, they've really like they're one of the top duos in the league. Like they're really starting to know how to play together, and they're both able to get theirs off. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
both of them. Luka more so than Kyrie is like very very ball dominant, but they're both able to get their stuff off. Luka's one of the lowest volume catch and shoot players in the league because Luka has the ball in his hand so often. But there was like multiple times these past couple of games where like Kyrie has the ball and Luka's taking spot up catch and shoot 3-pointers. And it's like holy like it's just not something you expect to see out of Luka. And it's like they're really finding their rhythm on how to play together. And it's helped that Kyrie Irving is really, really locked in defensively. He's been pretty damn good defensively. And I think it's part of the reason Luka's been better. Like I think Luka's seeing that too. And Luka's really like stepping up defensively.
Yeah, I feel like it's just they bought into the system.
Yeah.
Because, you have like Derek Lively, you have I believe Derek Jones Jr.,
Hmm.
PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. You have these good defenders. And now Kyrie and Luka might have looked at it and been like,
We really got
if
to
they're
buy in here. Yeah.
yeah, if they're stepping up and playing defense, we got to do that too, or else we may get headhunted. You know what I mean? Like the offense might try and pick us out and then take advantage of us. But if we're all playing good defense, there's not much they actually can do to try and get a disparity.
It's been exciting. Like I said, I wish this series was more. The games have been pretty competitive. I don't know. It ended up being like 3-0 and then 3-1. Like it's hard to see it as competitive because it's like it's never happened in history anybody's come back down from 0-3, and we've only seen a few 3-1 blown leads. So it's like how competitive has it really been if like the Timberwolves haven't really been able to win games? You know what I mean? But it has been a tight series. You know what I mean? Like the scores, I think was like 1.3 points and 9 points for the Mavericks wins. You know what I mean? Like they were good close games, even though the Mavericks were winning everything. It's just I wish this series was more 2-2 than 3-1. And I know that might not seem like much, but a 2-2 is you're now at a 3-game series. This is best of 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we're at the point where the Timberwolves cannot lose. They have to win 3 more in a row without losing. And it's like it's just kind of hard to be excited about that because it's like the chances are so low.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we've only seen like 4 teams that have come back from down 3-0 to force the game 7, and obviously none of them succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard enough to get it to 7, and it's even harder to win it. And like you said, there have only been a couple of like 3-1 leads blown.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, I feel like at this point, I don't think Luka lets the series go 7.
No, no.
You know what I mean? Like they might lose Game 5. You know, with Lively maybe being out. If he is out, let's just say they lose Game 5. I think Luka steps up and is just like, we're not losing this. We're going to the finals.
Yeah.
Luka is not going to let this Mavs team lose.
Luka's not going to let this series go back to Minnesota for Game 7.
Nah, he probably will wrap it up in 6.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't think this goes past 6 at the most.
But hey, my shot still stands.
Hey.
Timberwolves in 7.
Hey, it's a confident one to put out there, man. It's a good one to put out there.
I mean, hey, Ant said, I believe it was in a post-game interview or press conference, he said, I'm ready to make history.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it, but it's just like, I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people are thinking that when they get that game, you know what I mean, or they bring it to like 3-2, you know, they're confident, you know, let's make history, and then it gets shut down. But if this Timberwolves team comes back to life like we know they can, who knows what could happen?
I mean, for sure. I don't want to like say it's impossible because it's, you know what I mean. History is always meant to get broken. Like, you know what I mean. Like, records are always supposed to get broken. It's just how it goes. I guess what I want to point out though, real quick, is that the discourse around Anthony Edwards has been nuts. I mean, absolutely. It went from everybody loving him and comparing him to MJ to 5 games later, everybody saying like he's a joke. It's like he's not actually that. Like, people were so quick to crown him, and then people were so quick to take that crown away from him. Like,
I seen a TikTok. I forget who it was, but he basically pointed the exact same thing. I said that recency bias is so at large nowadays.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, when they swept the Suns 4-0, and then through that Nuggets series a little bit, everyone was like, oh my gosh, you know, Anthony Edwards is, you know, arguably the greatest player in the playoffs right now. You know, he's going to be the next. Yeah, he's going to be the next MJ, and then the past like 3 games, not including Game 4.
Well, I was going to say, I think
the conference finals,
Game 6 and 7 of the Denver series, he wasn't great, and then the first 3 games of this series, he wasn't great.
Yeah, so there are 5 games, and people are already trashing him and bringing him down. It's kind of just like he's a young player.
22.
He's 22 years old. Most players, when they're that young, are inconsistent.
Yeah.
Because they're still, he is, 3 years in the league. He's still trying to feel his way.
Yeah. I think 4. He's in 4.
He's still trying to, quote unquote, you know, feel his round. He's still trying to kind of like, I shouldn't say find his place, but, you know, what shots should I take? What shouldn't I take? What are makeable? What aren't makeable? You know, what shots do I practice a lot? You know what I mean? It's still kind of a feeling out process for him, in my opinion.
And that's something I think, like I said, I think ultimately the Timberwolves lose this series. I think that's something this offseason they need to work on is Mike Conley's a good player. Like, he's been cool. They need more playmakers on this team. And I think that's a lot of the reason. I think it's part of the reason they're such a bad clutch team, like on offense, is because they really don't have that many playmakers on this team. Like, it's a lot of iso ball. There's not really a lot of people that help them set up and get in and, like, you know, help Anthony Edwards get into his spots, help Cat get into his spots. I think they need to look at more playmaking this offseason.
Yeah, I can see that. I can very well see that. I know last year when it came playoff time with D'Lo, they were not good.
Yeah, well, D'Lo is more of a shoot first guard than he is a pass first guard.
Yeah, and then the difference in this team, obviously there were more acquisition, you know, there's moving parts, but to go from D'Lo to Mike Conley, and now you're at the top of the West, and now it's kind of maybe add, you know, one more piece to this team, and then you could possibly say, you know, bona fide, you know, championship team a contending team. But yeah, like you said, the playmaking, especially in the crunch time, is what's really killing them.
Yeah, it's like and again, like I said, Anthony Edwards is 22 years old, so it's like you got to giving him more time is completely understandable. This is one of the first couple really deep playoff runs for him. Cat's been in the league a long time to be doing some of the dumb shit he does. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like they haven't really had a lot of postseason like even appearances, so it's like I guess you can kind of, you know what I mean? Like kind of, but it's like Cat as at this point a veteran needs to really be better. He just has to be better, especially helping calm down Anthony Edwards and like just you know what I mean. Just like even his shot died as well, and that's I've been a little disappointed with that. But real quick, I do want to come to Karl Anthony Towns' defense because I don't know if you saw this article by SB Nation.
I probably didn't.
This came out. What's this? Today, the 29th. This came out yesterday morning. The title of it, this is SB Nation. This is a reputable sports writing network, like site,
Okay.
all this. The title is An Ode to Karl Anthony Towns, the most annoying guy in the NBA. And I'm like, how in the hell is that even something that's allowed to be put out?
I don't understand why that was put out, and two, why it was approved to be put out.
They were basically making fun of him because he's corny, is what they were, in quotes, corny. The way he walks, the way he has a higher pitched voice. They were alluding to they think he's gay. And I'm like,
what does it matter?
Yeah, one, what does it matter? And two, like, I don't understand. Let's see here. If the ad is, what is this thing here? Let me cut through this because hopefully you guys can't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, what does it matter? You know, he is a professional athlete, so his personal life is kind of put out there more than the rest of us. But what does it matter if he's gay? You know what I mean? What does it matter if he has a higher pitched voice? You know, you can't control how high pitched your voice is.
Oh, listen to this. And yet, in his off-court persona, his on-court demeanor, and his style of play, Karl Anthony Towns is a Tim Robinson character, a doofus who acts strangely and obnoxiously, oblivious to being the butt of the joke. A player who is grating whether he is talking what he thinks he is effective trash, or whining to the refs, or pouting on the sideline, or making a bizarre read when he attracts a double team, or most famously fouling at the worst possible moment, for no coherent reason, putting his team in the bonus, and his ass on the bench when he's needed most. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. I don't know. The foul thing, that's kind of on the refs, you know, unless it was actually a boneheaded thing. But also,
Karl Anthony Towns is known for making boneheaded fouls at bad times. I fully understand that. But that kind of language from SB Nation should just not be there.
100%. And they say, like, oh, his butt on the bench, you know, in clutch situations. I mean, Naz Reid is no slouch. He's not as good as Karl Anthony Towns, but he's still a damn good player. He won Sixth Man of the Year because of it and stepped in for Cat.
Yeah.
You know, he stepped in when needed, and yet they want to sit there and write that.
Obviously SB Nation is 1,000 times bigger than we are. Like, you know, their voices speak out way further than ours do. It's just like, at what point, it feels like SB Nation was trying to take a Barstool Sports approach, like the uncensored, free journalism that Barstool, but it's like, Barstool's been known for that for years. You kind of come expect that out of Barstool, and even then they have their limits.
Yeah.
SB Nation, like, I just don't understand why that article was even made in the first place. Like, there was a lot of stuff in there that had no reason to be said. And obviously a lot of people were upset about it for good reason. It felt like a hit piece at Karl Anthony Towns. It felt like, I don't know if the writer was a Timberwolves fan that's upset that they were down 0-3 at that point in time and just had to put one of those out there because he was frustrated. I don't know. I hope that, I don't like doing this, but that writer needs to face consequences for that. That's an awful article to put out.
100%, and that writer probably doesn't know Cat, you know,
at all,
even remotely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I can understand, not all reporters or not all writers are gonna know who they're writing about, but you can't just spew that out there. And I kind of want to know their sources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like obviously he is goofy. Cat is a goofy guy. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to go at him like this just because
Yeah, it makes nothing. It means like what the hell does it mean?
he's a goofy guy, but he's one of the best big men shooters that we've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't understand the purpose of that article. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that's something I wanted to bring up real quick because I saw that and I saw everybody get upset, so I read it and I'm like, holy, like what is going on in this? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what. I don't know. That's nuts.
And also, I want to come to the defense of Rudy Gobert, right?
Okay.
And the reason I want to is because a lot of people are saying, like he got exposed. He's getting exposed. When that Luka hit that 3 over him to win the game.
Yeah.
People are saying like, oh well, why is he depoy? Why is he depoy? Like, when are we gonna remove any type of bias? It's gonna happen. I know that, but the regular season defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The regular season defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We base it off the regular season, not the playoffs last year, not their career. We base it off of that current season.
Yep.
Rudy Gobert won it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Name me a center that has won defensive player of the year that could keep with Luka and lock him down.
Yes, that's what my point about it is that not too many people in this league can stay in front of Luka, and you might be like, well, yeah, he's a depoy. He's a 7'1" center. Like, of course, even then, he's still got to contest on the shot. Like,
yes.
it's not like he got, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Luka got away from him, but he was able to get out and still get a contest on. I mean, he shouldn't have been on Luka. Even then, I think he did what he could to stay in front of Luka. Like, I think that's just great offense beating good defense.
100%, and even most of the guards in the league that we've seen can't keep with Luka. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he was the depoy, he was the defensive player of the year. It doesn't matter. Not a lot of people, especially 7-foot big men, can keep with Luka and
in space
still get that. Yes, in space, no screens, no nothing, in space, 1-on-1, and still somehow get a contest. You know what I mean? Like, people, and honestly, we all know this, Rudy has been tore down and just went after a lot during his career.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, I feel like he's one of the most hated players in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
But yet, 4 depoys. I'm gonna be honest, Rudy's probably gonna be in the Hall of Fame just because of his depoys alone.
100%, yeah.
He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame, and he's got 4 depoys. He got a bag from Utah, I believe. He's living his best life. He's in the conference finals.
Yeah.
What does it matter what anyone says about him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's playing how he thinks he needs to play, and I am here for it. I like Rudy. I really do. I just think some of the hate is very unnecessary.
Yeah, and like, even you said it's a regular season war, which it completely is. But like, even through the first 2 series, he was fantastic. You know what I mean? And he's had a couple of the games in this series, he's been really good. Like, he's only had 1 or 2 games of this conference finals that he was like, defensively. Other than that, every damn game this entire playoffs, he's been great defensively too.
Yeah, and I know people want to point at, when he was in Utah, he was a depoy, but he kept getting played off the court. The Utah's defense was funnel him into Rudy and let him deal with it.
Yep.
Name me a good defender on that Utah team that could stick with someone 1-on-1.
Yeah, you're right. It's not.
Exactly. Now on this Timberwolves team, you have Mike Conley. You have Anthony Edwards, who's picking up his defensive play, becoming a good 2-way guard. You have
Jaden McDaniels.
You have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You have pieces around him that play defense, so not the entire defensive burden is on him.
Yeah.
And so if they do try and space out, now you can adjust your defensive rotation or your defensive, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Scheme to where you can keep Rudy out there so he doesn't have to keep chasing out to the 3 line all the damn time, which hurts the entire team, which hurt that Utah team because no one else really played defense or played defense good enough to stick with someone one-on-one.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think we kind of wrapped up. There wasn't really much to talk about in that Boston Indiana series. It just they kind of wiped the floor with them. I'm curious to see how many games this goes, but there's a good chance by Saturday when we come back, this series could be over too.
Probably. I mean, I'm hoping for a 7-game series as a Boston fan.
Mm.
As from my Boston perspective, I want it to go 7, so they get at least amount of rest as possible.
That's fair.
But realistically, the Mavs are going to either take it in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Is there anything else? Like, I know it's probably a little bit of a shorter episode, but there's only two. There was only 2 games, you know, or only 2 series. It's not like there was a lot to. Yeah.
Also, R.I.P. to Bill Walton.
Oh yes.
One of the best collegiate college basketball players. I believe he won 2 or 3 national championships, 2 or 3 National Player of the Years. Won a title for Portland. Won an MVP in Portland. Won another title with the Celtics. But R.I.P. to Bill Walton.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Bill Walton, man. That's.
Yep.
It always sucks to lose. It always sucks to lose somebody, anybody. It hurts to lose anybody. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's not really much else to say to that. Anything else you want to hit
on? That's about it. I ain't got really much of anything else.
Okay, then. I guess I'll shout out my YouTube channel, Cloud2K. Still do my Madden. Still do my 2K. I'm uploading my 2K1 literally right now as we talk. It just had a busy day. Didn't really have a chance to upload it, so that's going to be uploaded. That's a Bucks rebuild. Go check that out. Yeah, still 3 times a week. I appreciate you guys' support. Levi, if you want to do yours.
Garbage Gamer. I have a Madden Super Run Challenge series going on, and I am going to do a Dynasty series once College Football 25 drops in July. I will be doing a Dynasty and or Road to Glory when that drops, so be ready for that.
I'm excited for that. I'm also going to do I'm also going to do a Road to Glory. I'm probably going to do Dynasty first and then maybe move into a Road to Glory. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm getting really excited for that game.
That's about all I have.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Time Out with J&G. This could be back to a regular video format versus a live stream, so hopefully you guys see this one. It was cool to live stream it, but nobody was really looking at it because I guess you had to go to the live tab, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, not our problem. We're just going to try doing it this way, which means they're probably going to be a little bit shorter so we can get them in, like, the max recording for this is like an hour, so for a little bit they might be less than an hour, which is cool, you know what I mean? Like, not all podcasts have to be an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know? Sometimes you just want a quick little fix of something, and maybe we can do that for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, leave a like, comment your favorite team if you made it this far down below, and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.